Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a very successful entrepreneur who says he's learned some of his best lessons through failure. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, as an entrepreneur, I'm fascinated by other entrepreneurs and their journey, and I love stories of grit, determination, and stick-to-it-iveness. So I can't think of a better person to talk about that today than Grant Pruitt, the CEO of Whitebox Real Estate. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
So we're going to talk more about your company in a second, but I want to start with the very early days. You were knocking on doors.
I was. I tell people that there's 3 keys to success in real estate, and that's if you get lucky, but you got to work to put yourself in the position to get lucky. And then when you get it, run as hard and fast with it as you can. You get, some people are just well connected, and you better work the connections that you have. And then the other person just works harder than everybody else, and that common thread is hard work. So yeah, I got my start knocking on doors, wearing out the shoe leather, literally going door to door. A lot here in this building in Lincoln Center, across the freeway at the Galleria, and I would wear out a pair of shoes about every 2 months knocking on doors, and that's how I got my start.
And I admire you because so many young people today, and I'm talking about the Gen Zs, they're not used to rejection. They got a ribbon for showing up. And so, I mean, that had to be humbling to be told no so many times.
Yes, the short answer is yes. There's no shortage of no's, but you just need that one yes. And I think you really learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about digging deep and persevering. And really, it set me up for the rest of my career.
Okay, tell us about the first deal, because I heard this story on another podcast that you did.
Okay.
Where you were like shocked that you got the deal.
So I got lucky. It was my 3rd day in the business. I was cold calling to Galleria, and it was an insurance company on the 13th floor of 2 Galleria. And I knock in, they're in 1,270 square feet. And I said, I think your lease is coming up. And the guy says, well, how'd you know? And I said, because it's my job to research, and I just got lucky. I wouldn't teach my team to do that now, but I got really lucky. And I had no idea what I was doing. He gave me his business card and said, I want to go north to Windhaven, and I don't want to be south of 190. You got it? And I had no idea what he was talking about because I wasn't from DFW, and I just wrote those down. I said, yeah, I got it. And I come back to the office, and he goes, all right, partner, I'll see you next week, because I said I'd put some options together for him. And I come back to the office, I am so excited, and I walk in and I go, I got a deal. And my manager at the time goes, well, where's your engagement letter? And I said, engagement letter? I have no idea what you're talking about. Nobody's even given me one of these. I don't know what it is. And he goes, well, then how do you know that you're working with him? And I said, because he called me partner on the way out the door. And fortunately, I showed up. He did sign the engagement letter then, and the rest is history, and that was deal number 1.
I love that, because you're able to tell your team that you've been there. And there's a lot of bosses who haven't been in the trenches, and so that probably means a lot.
I tell everybody in the company, I don't tell them to do anything that I haven't done myself.
Wow. I want to show some of your listings. So we're going to scroll down your website. You have some real estate really all over North Texas. What are you seeing right now on the front line? Because I know there's been a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth about the back-to-work economy.
Well, I want to clarify it in that we do office and industrial. Industrial is a totally different animal. Talking about the office side and the back-to-work, North Texas is different. I say that the back-to-work and the occupancy and work is very dependent upon geography. So if you're in the Northeast, it's going to be very different than if you're in the southwestern part of the United States. In the state of Texas, we have seen so much in-migration. We've seen headquarters come here like Caterpillar. I never thought they would leave Illinois. Santa Rosa, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs is moving 5,000 employees here. That's really changed the dynamics of the market and really puts increased pressure on the market. What we're seeing as a general rule of thumb, Texas did lead and has led back to work for the United States. The three leaders historically for the past year and a half have been Houston, Austin, and DFW. Austin actually leads the United States. Houston and DFW have been battling back and forth. It's also indicative to the industries that are in those metropolitan areas. DFW is the second most diverse economy as far as industries are concerned in the United States. Because of that, we have been a little bit slower. We've been about 57% occupancy. We're down 1.1% from last week, and you can track it. Houston is slightly beating us at 58.1%. Austin has been in the 60s, and the United States as a whole has been 47.7%. So we have historically been trending 10 to 15% ahead of where the United States has been. The way that office space has been used has changed. You can look at by day occupancy of office space, and you'll see it's a curve like this. Monday's down, Friday's down, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, people are in the office. So it's disproportionately affecting those 3 days. The biggest thing that has changed the office has been the use. Because even before the pandemic, there was already a trend that was getting away from the open office environment. They found that especially for industries, that closed offices fostered more productivity than some of the really, really dense open office environments. And law firms are a great example. They got a lot of sensitive information, then they use the conference rooms disproportionately. What we've seen post-pandemic is a continuation of that trend, just because people like space, people have grown accustomed to space. And then in addition to that, we've seen an increase in conferencing facilities, primarily because I don't know about you, but my home, I've tried to get better internet, but it just is not as good at my office or as my office is. Most people have a better experience at the office than they do in their home. And so we've seen meetings, even Zoom presentations go to conferencing facilities. And we've also seen a gravitation towards larger conferencing facilities. So historically, architects always said that we needed to look at going to a more open office environment, fewer offices. We also needed to look at going to smaller conference rooms because we would have 8-person conference rooms or 6-person conference rooms and only 2 people in it. But what has happened is people got accustomed to the space. I don't know about you, but in my offices, we were removing chairs for a little while, and we had tape, and we had all kinds of different accoutrements for the pandemic, and people got used to it. And so people just aren't comfortable being in a 2-person conference room doing a Zoom or doing a virtual meeting. And so it has increased the conference space. And time will tell, but what it really looks like is it's more a net neutral. The timing, the usage, the days that we use them is changing, but in terms of the overall space, it's really a net neutral, especially in markets like DFW. Chicago, New York, going to be totally different stories, but DFW is very different. The state of Texas is different. Houston, Austin, San Antonio, all different. We did a study and looked at what the projected growth of relocation in migration to DFW was. And if you take the projected in-migration of office jobs it works out to about 750,000 people that would be moving here over 10 years. And when we went and we adjusted for work from home, so forth, we're at about 170 million square feet worth of office users. All the vacancy of office in DFW is about 70 million square feet right now. You're not going to lease everything because some things are functionally obsolete. Some buildings are being mothballed, converted to other uses. And so if you absorb everything, we're still 100 million square feet short of what we need to accommodate all the jobs that are going to be coming to here and or organically created. So we're in a very different place relative to a lot of other places around the country, and we're fortunate to be that way.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time that North Texas is just different. It's not like Detroit. So if you seem to recognize Grant, it's because he did a show on our network for I guess at least a year or so.
Yeah,
we've got some video, and this is the early days of...
Look at how good I look.
This is the early days of our television studios. So have you always kind of had the gift of gab? I mean, you're a great communicator.
You're nice to say that. I don't know. I just like to be me, and you know that's actually one thing that's really important that we talk about when we're talking about recruiting and people working in the company is I want authenticity, and I want people to know that the energy and the passion that I have when I do this. It's probably muted in this scenario. You know, when you go to our offices, that's what I'm like. That's what the people that we hire that are like. That's the passion and the energy. And actually, our mission that we talk about is our passion is your solution. Talking about our clients because they have all these problems, and I always start every meeting, and I started a little bit different every meeting, but typically I say, you know. I couldn't sleep last night, and I was really having a hard time because our clients have all these challenges with their real estate and with their real estate needs. And I'm so passionate about the solutions that we're bringing to provide positive change to our clients' businesses that I just couldn't sleep last night. That's how passionate I am. That's what got me out of bed this morning because I couldn't even go to sleep last night. So
I love that, and I want to show your team. We went to his website and just look at this. I mean, this is big, and you guys aren't just in Dallas-Fort Worth.
We are in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, and Austin.
Wow.
And we did work in 44 states, 3 countries, 6 continents last year.
That's amazing. Tell me about your team, because any company is only as good as its people. What kind of team members do you recruit?
Well, I think everybody says A players, but I truly believe in the A players. We recruit passionate entrepreneurs. That's the biggest thing that you'll hear in the company is we are all about entrepreneurship. And a lot of people aren't familiar with that term. I think I stumbled upon it. You hear a lot of companies talk about entrepreneurship. And when I was an employee, they used to always talk about how they were an entrepreneurial company. And I used to always think, well, I really just don't have a whole lot of opportunity in the company that I'm at. And where is this entrepreneurial experience? Because the definition of entrepreneur is someone who takes great financial risk. And I'm an employee, I don't really have a whole lot of great financial risk. And so what we have set up and what we look for are people that want to be people that build a business within a business. That's what an entrepreneur is someone that builds a business within a business. And so I look for people that have it here. They have passion, they have heart, they have energy. We can teach everything else. We can teach the real estate piece. If they're in our operations department, we can teach the operations piece. We cannot teach heart. We cannot teach determination. We cannot teach grit. And so that's what we look for.
Wow, you and I are the same person. Final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
You know, I think I just want to say thank you to you, Jeff, because entrepreneurship is a journey, and it's a journey that takes many different paths and many different ins and outs, and the same is true for entrepreneurship. And you were probably one of the first people along the way that I came across that really helped us to understand who we are and our brand and the authenticity. You can see it in the podcast. You know, you helped me to understand that it was okay to be authentic. So thank you to you, and thank you for people for watching this show and the other shows that you do.
Well, I'm humbled. Grant, it's a pleasure to call you my friend. We're going to end with the website, which is whiteboxrealestate.com. Grant Pruitt, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.